everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a preview for DC's Valentine's Day anthology with probably the greatest name, DC's How to Lose a Guy Gardner in 10 Days. Not only is this great because it's a fantastic name for the anthology, but it's also the name of one of the stories in the book. So, um, now, if you're not familiar with this, DC puts out you these 80-page quarterly holiday issues. They usually do one for the summer, one for Valentine's, one for I think for Halloween or the fall, and then of course one for Christmas or the holidays. So, in this issue, 8 rom-com inspired new stories about love and trying to find it in the DC universe. Romance is rarely a simple affair. Love is almost always followed by some sort of conflict, whether you're Plastic Man twisting yourself into knots trying to please someone, or the Flash traveling back in time to make a catastrophic 50 first dates perfect, or even a lonely robot who just can't seem to find love unless it's mail from a computer screen like Red Tornado. Love actually is a pain in the 27 dresses. So, in the grand tradition of these dating conundrums a la rom-coms from the 90s and aughts, we are proud to present 8 new stories about trying to find love in this DZ zany world. Uh, yeah, I'm all in for this. I love these books. They are just so much fun. Really cool cover too, by the way, by Amanda Connor. Uh, just I just love her style, and it really fits for this. So let's talk about what stories are in this book, and then I'll give you some preview art for one of the stories. The story that we have preview art for is Guy Gardner and How to Lose a Guy Gardner in 10 Days. This is written by Kenny Porter with art by Nick Robles and colors by Nick Filardi with letters by Travis Lanham. We also have The Red Tornado in Robots Are Red, Androids Are Blue, written by Aaron J. Walke, with art and color by Ivan Shavrin, letters by Josh Reed. Booster Gold, my boy, in Golden Pairs, written by Danny Laurie, with art and colors by Ted Brand and Rose Stein, letters by Josh Reed. The Flash in Too Many Dates, written and drawn by Marguerite Sauvage, who one of the creators that I'm currently in love with. Their work is just so much fun, with letters by Frank Sevtokovic, uh, Constantine in Never Been Kissed. Yeah, right. Written by Alex Galler with art and colors by Derek Charm, letters by Ferran Delgado. Plastic Man in Love's a Stretch, written by Dennis Hopeless with art by Valdemar Rivas, letters by Steve Wands. Wonder Woman in Say Yes to the Mess, written by Brendan Hay, with art by ML Sanapo, colors by Enrica Anglioni, and letters by Becca Carey. And last but not least, Nightwing and Batgirl in Date Night, written by George Mann, with pencils by Leonardo Rodriguez, inks by Joe Prado and Jonas Trindade, and colors by Hi-Fi, letters by Carlos Manuel. As I mentioned, really cool cover by Amanda Connor and Jamie Palmiotti, with variant covers by Ariel Diaz, Christian Ward, and Dustin Wynn, which you'll see at the end of the video. Like, don't all those titles just sound really fun? Like, I love this stuff. It's goofy nonsense the way that comics should be. Let's look at the preview for the Guy Gardner story, written by Kenny Porter, fantastic writer, and of course Nick Robles. Just I don't know how they got Nick Robles to do this story, but I'm so glad he's part of it. I just love how this like Guy Gardner is the perfect character to put in a silly rom com, especially because he's just not very self aware, and he's kind of a douche. So it just really works out. But yeah, I'm excited to get into this. I'm a big fan of these anthologies. I don't know which cover I'm gonna pick up, but this is an 80-page giant, so it should be around $10. So keep that in mind. If you really just want to read the stories, maybe wait until it's out on the DC Ultra, Infinite Ultra. But I recommend you go try to hunt down some of these variants because they are a lot of fun. I'm looking, you'll see them at the end of the video, but just really cool stuff. So, hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Red Hood, The Hill, number 0, This is a book from DC Comics. Let's take a look at the creative team before we get into this book. This book is written by Sean Martinborough with pencils by Tony Atkins, inks by Stefan Guariano, and colors by Paul Muntz, letters by Troy Peteri. Now, this DC's been doing this thing where they do like issue zeros or specials to kind of collect some of the backup stories from different books, and that's what this is, leading up to the release of Red Hood: The Hill #1, which should be out next week. So, in this book, discover the story that introduced Jason Todd to his new neighborhood. Before you embark in the Red Hood's newest adventure in the Hill, experience the story that introduced Jason to his new home. As the Joker War ravages Gotham, a new vigilante group has formed to protect their turf, and Red Hood finds himself caught in the crossfire. The thrilling tale that collects Red Hood Outlaw 51 and 52 and is essential reading before you get to come into the Red Hood, the Hill. Uh, so that's very interesting because DC's really, I mean, they're definitely double dipping, but they're also making it very accessible. The Joker War was so long ago. I'm surprised that this book like took so long to come out. But I feel like the new one should do like a jump ahead in time to be a little bit more caught up with current continuity. I mean, the Joker War was before Dawn of DC, so it's been a while. Um, Now that being said, I really like the setup. I think it was good for me to go back and refresh myself on what's going on here. I definitely think you are introduced to a lot of characters very quickly, a lot of new concepts, but it's all very well explained in the book. And I feel like as long as we keep expanding on that world in this new neighborhood, I think it should be fine going forward. Now, this book didn't blow me away or anything, although I will say I do like the art a lot. I like the character designs a lot. We'll see some of that in a second. But yeah, I think if you are excited for this net new Red Hood series, if you're one of those people that loves Red Hood and wants to read everything that they're a part of, you definitely want to check this out. So let's take a look at the preview art here. And as I mentioned, just very efficient. I love the character designs. There's not a lot of dialogue for a book that's trying to like introduce all these concepts. It's actually very conservative when it comes to the dialogue and narration. It gives you a few editor's notes and a couple things like that. But yeah, I think the hardest challenge will probably be just putting yourself in that mindset of right after Joker War. But yeah, a lot of like any book with the Red Hood must be dark, must be gritty. Like, and of course, I think the only thing is that we know that the Red Hood has changed. So probably this book will take place before Gotham War, maybe. I'm not sure. We'll definitely talk about that when we check out #1. So yeah, I'm excited for this one. Just to kind of see what the reaction is from people out there. I know there's a lot of Red Hood fans out there, and I want to see how Jason's gonna interact with all these new characters. So that'll be really fun to get into. Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for a new book from DC Comics. This is Suicide Squad Kill Arkham Asylum #1. This is the official prequel to the video game. So let's take a look at the creative team before we really dive into this book. This book is written by John Layman with art by Jesus Hervas, colors by David Baron, and letters by End World Design. Of course, some really cool variants, so stay tuned for the end of the video for that. I guess the first thing I will address is there are no spoilers for the game on this issue. This all takes place prior to. It's going to be a 5-issue miniseries. I've already talked about how I feel about all the spoilers floating around. I've also started playing the game. I'm not very good at video games, so it's hard for me to judge. But I think once I get a few more hours into it, I'll do a full review on the channel. But in this issue, things are going to get messy in this prequel to Rocksteady's Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League video game. Before the Suicide Squad sets their sights on the corrupted Justice League in the upcoming video game that is already out, the Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League. Join us for this thrilling prequel and witness them kill Arkham Asylum. Amanda Waller has taken control of the recently rebuilt Arkham, and her brutal tactics and merciless methods have led to the most secure asylum Gotham has ever known. But when the cell doors open and the inmates are left for a free for all deathmatch, Waller's true intention revealed themselves: identify the strongest, smartest, and most brutal to serve on the Task Force X. Now, I do want to read this other thing because it doesn't really relate to the story, but each print issue will include a redeemable code for a bonus token for the game that inspired the comic. You can also get the new Mr. Sass digital doll with issue number one, and also paying subscribers to the DC Universe Infinite annual or ultra subscription in the US only, who read digital issues of this will also receive a digital bonus. So, great marketing by DC, because if you want free stuff, you can gotta spend a little money. I'm already an Ultra member, so hopefully I'll check that out. I don't know if this comic is released day of on the Ultra app. Stay tuned. I'll probably make a short video about that tomorrow, or when the video is out, or when the issue's out. But yeah, that's pretty cool that you get a digital code for some stuff. I love getting stuff from the game. So, all right, the other thing I wanted to address, this comic specifically tells you this happens after the events of Batman, Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight. Now, spoilers for those games. Uh, I believed that at the end of those games, Batman died. Now, I know it's kind of left up there nebulous, but obviously, this comic confirms that Batman is not dead, at least as of the end of those games. So, very interesting that they kind of went back and maybe either retcon or clarified some stuff in a comic that's a prequel to their game. So uh, this is all very interesting if you're a big continuity nerd. But so let's talk about this actual book before we get into it. So um, I love the characterizations of the Suicide Squad here, and also Amanda Waller. She's just a badass. I kind of like that in this issue. Batman is kind of put on the background. He's not the main character because this is a Suicide Squad book. Although Batman is there, this is kind of how you get the reveal, or I guess this is kind of how you get the confirmation that the Batman from the Rocksteady games is not dead, because he's here, and of course he's in the game. So really interesting that they kind of chose to do all that. But I think John Layman just tells a very cool story. I really like, specifically, one of my favorite characters in this is King Shark. I really like this characterization of him. I hope they use this for the comics whenever they bring him back. He's, unlike the movie, he's very knowledgeable. He's very smart. He really addresses the fact that he's descendant from gods. So it's very cool. And of course, we get to see Batman doing really cool stuff in Arkham too. So, like, I don't know what else you could ask for. Harley Quinn being unhinged, Captain Boomerang being a deranged psychopath, and of course, Deadshot just being the coolest guy in Arkham. So let's take a look at some of the preview art here. You can see here, very cool redesign of Arkham for this comic. And like I mentioned, I love the design of King Shark here. We see Killer Croc dropping in with Batman, and this is the first time we see Batman really in that continuity since the end of those games, right? If you haven't played the game, and I like his suit. I like the redesign as well. I also really like this characterization and this approach to Amanda Waller, that she's never been afraid, like no matter how menacing Batman is, and it's just really cool stuff. I love all the little Easter eggs of like who is left here. There's a lot of editors notes because they really want to push you back to the video games, which I think it's very smart as marketing wise. Uh, and then you just kind of get into it. You get to see here, you get to see the full Suicide Squad. I love these little panels. You'll see, I blow them up in the next page, but just look at all the little Easter eggs and everybody that's kind of hidden in these details. Like who is currently at Arkham? Who did these guys have to beat to eventually make it onto the Suicide Squad? Very cool stuff. And as I mentioned, I just really love their mugshots. So I just really love their mugshots, and I just really wanted to put them here so everybody could see them. Of course, like I said, King Shark is like this. I don't know why he's eating the sign if he's really like smart when it comes to the game. And yeah, Harley, where the rat come from? Why is Deadshot still wearing his suit? Like just crazy, crazy stuff. I don't know. I had a lot of fun with this book, and I think specifically if we're gonna get some loot and if it's gonna be on the DC Infinite app, like I can't wait to read this on monthly basis or whenever this is done. I'm sure they've been working on this book for a long time to try to coincide with the game. So very. Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Batman 142. This is the beginning of a new arc, but let's check out the creative team before we get into this. So this is written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Giuseppe Camuncoli and Andrea Sorrentino. We also have Stephanie Nessie on inks, and of course Sorrentino inking his own stuff. Alejandro Sanchez and Dave Stewart on colors, respectively, to each of the artists. And Clayton Cowles is doing all the lettering. So the Joker Year One finally revealed here by this team. The tragic death of the leader of the Red Hood gang in a vat of chemicals has become a subject of myth. But what is the heartbreaking and gruesome tale of the monster who walked away from that violent birth? And how does it affect Batman's distant future? Joker Year One begins here. This story will be will take place within 3 issues of the Batman. So you are at a great point to kind of catch up on everything that Chip Zdarsky has been doing. So um, I really like that. There's a lot of stuff that I like about this book. The artists are incredible. They each take kind of a different time period. So I love that there's a reason for us to have multiple artists in the book. Andrea Sorrentino's style is so much different than Camuncoli, and it's just really fun to see side by side. You'll get to see some of that. There's some recreations of iconic moments. There's references to things from the New 52, the Batman Zero Year and Year One story. Like there's just so much that is brought to the page here that I really, really enjoy that. I don't think we'll ever get down a actual like story of the origin of the Joker, but I think it's also fun to play around with that. And of course, I think if you're a Batman writer, that's something you might want to tackle. I also really love seeing the old Batman design from Zero Year in the comic book. I think it's a lot of fun. And yeah, the way that the artists play with the visuals, going back and forth between their pages, it's really, really fun. I think Zdarsky has definitely raised the bar as to what we expect from a Batman book, and obviously taking on this challenge. I think it's a lot. Like I think it's great because I feel like he's really rising up to tell a fun story. So let's take a look at some of the preview art here. And I think you can definitely tell if you're familiar with Sorrentino's art. He's working on the first page. Uh, I love the small panels, just brief inserts, and then just these capsules opening into a little red, reminiscent of the original Red Hood's design. And like I mentioned here, you can see side by side, we see here the old Batman design falling into the vat of acid. We see the Red Hood homage to the Killing Joke here with the Joker laughing and losing his mind. Like just it is very intense, and of course we see multiple iterations of the Joker. I think one of the things I enjoyed the most here was seeing the Joker out of his element, and then kind of trying to figure out what the plan is. Also, I don't know if we had ever seen a Joker with a beard like this long, which is interesting. Yeah, there's so many really like small little things that I know a lot of people say like, oh, maybe the Joker is overplayed and overhyped, and maybe so. But I think when you have such a cool creative team in front of you, it's really fun to dive into it. So I highly enjoy this issue. Like I said, even if it was just the art, like I'm here for it because both Sorrentino and Camuncoli are just top tier artists that I can't believe that we're getting them on the same book. This is going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. and then how this ties into the larger narrative that Zdarsky has been writing since he took over the book, because a lot has happened. Bruce has changed a lot. He continues to isolate himself, and it may be by the design of the failsafe droid, and of course Batman's Zoronar pulling all the strings as we saw. So yeah, I don't know how this is gonna fit into that, but I'm excited to see it. I think Zdarsky doesn't just do things without a plan. If you have read his Daredevil run, you'll know that everything that is on those pages was there for a reason. So hello, everyone. Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Birds of Prey number 6. This is the conclusion of the first arc, Megadeth. Let's take a look at the creative team before we get into the book. Um, this book is written by Kelly Thompson with art by Leonardo Romero, colors by Jordi Belair, letters by Clayton Cowles. Oh my goodness. So I will say this. I think this first issue run of Birds of Prey is definitely near the top of like my Birds of Prey knowledge. I think it's a lot of fun. It looks beautiful, and I would call it almost perfect, except for the fact that we had to have a fill-in artist on issue 5, and that's not a slight against the artist. I think the artist was great, but it was such a big change in the art style that it was just very jarring, especially going back to Romero for the last issue. Um, I I wish I wish that DC would have just maybe, delayed, skip a month. I don't know. I don't want to. I know there's deadlines. I don't think shit need to come out on time, but I really think for the integrity of the book, like it would have been so much better for them to wait. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about this book and not the state of comics in monthly issues. So the Ola War on Themyscira. Here, as the team faces off against the mythical Megara, can the birds overcome this ancient evil, or will one of them have to pay the ultimate price? This book, I learned that it's really all about sacrifice. That's what this Dinah put this team together for, right? And she knew that things would maybe not turn out great. There's a reason she picked those specific birds of prey. But I think things resolve very organically. I think things resolve very neatly as well. But also leaving things open for the future. There's also some really cool like that back half of this book is gonna say it sets up for the next arc, and I just love it. I hope we get to see some of these characters in the future work together again. I don't really know what to expect for the future of this book, but Kelly Thompson, just the way she wrote this team has been amazing. And like I mentioned, if like Leonardo Romero's art is it's such a cool approach to like doing contemporary comics in a classic style. So let's go take a look at the art actually. And of course Jordi Belair's colors come into the picture a lot for this. But yeah, just the character designs, how how clean the lines are, how dark the inks are where they need to be. Some of these shots of like just off in the distance, setting up the scene and giving you a sense of space. I love that. I love the contrasting colors of their outfits versus the jungle, or the island of Themyscira, because everything's taking place at night, so everything's a little dark. Just it really works. All the faces that they are. Romero's really good at getting like the feeling and the emotion that he wants in this face. So yeah, I mean, look at Stella. Like you can tell she's really taking no shit from anyone. So I'm very excited to see what this book is going to bring in the future. But this was such a satisfying conclusion. I think this might be one of DC's best ongoings. Like I said, if they had been able to maintain Romero for the full arc, this would probably be the best thing DC's been putting out. And I know, other books they kind of do, they switch up artists in between arcs. So I wouldn't care if Romero had been omitted from the next arc to make sure that he has enough time to work on whatever else he's doing. But yeah, uh, but overall, either way, even with all that, Such a satisfying conclusion to the story. And like I said, just a really interesting setup for what's to come. So, very excited for the future of this book. If you're not picking up Birds of Prey, now's your chance to catch up. So, yeah, if you have read this book, though, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.